No, like, seriously, why aren't there science mittens? Now, on the surface, this might seem like a really stupid idea, but upon further analysis, it's still a stupid idea. But it's an idea that I couldn't shake. Could I make rubber mittens? Can I make rubber gloves? How are rubber gloves made? Basically, rubber gloves are made exactly how you'd expect. A hand mold is dipped into a liquid rubber, baked to dry, and then degloved. The machines used to make these are actually really cool, but they're huge, and obviously buying one of them is out of the question. So how about the hand mold itself, and I just figure out the chemistry later? Huh, here we go, and it's a good price too. Let's, oh... That's okay, I own a 3D printer, so I can just make these myself. I tweaked a simple hand model I found online and printed it out on my trusty 3D printer. This is unusable. I don't know that I've ever gotten a usable print out of that 3D printer. But I do really want to manufacture these hands myself. It's an investment. It's an investment. It's an investment. Where was I? Oh, right, yeah, I own a 3D printer, so I can just make these myself. First, I'll do some small-scale tests. That way we can iron out all the issues at the process before we go dumping large amounts of latex onto large amounts of plastic. Now, you might be wondering how I got all the chemicals to make such a product. The answer? I didn't. This is just regular old latex typically made for body paint, but it doesn't make it different from any other kind of latex.
It smells like crab chowder.
And you'll never guess what my plan is. I'm going to fill a box with latex and dip a hand mold in it. Oh, you did guess that. Oh, I'm sorry, okay. I had printed 2 hands to experiment with how layer thickness impacted the gloves, so I made 2 test gloves. But it became clear that it would take more than 1 layer of latex. There's clearly some defecting, like right around here, and now I'm looking on top of the thumb as well. I wonder if that's just because I have it set like that, facing up so everything runs down. I wonder if that's something a second coat will be able to fix. We'll just let it dry a little bit and see where we end up. I did a second layer on these gloves to fill in the gaps. It was at this point I realized how aggressively untreated latex sticks to itself, which would prove annoying during the degloving process. I did discover that cornstarch would prevent this, so I dusted the first glove and tried to deglove it. Is anyone else getting uncomfortable with how often I'm using the word deglove, or is it just me? Anyway, this glove was an absolute loss. I gave the second glove more cornstarch and went about it in a more deliberate manner and was actually able to get it off reasonably well. I mean, this is pretty good for a second try. There are some process improvements that I'd like to make that my voiceover will explain right now. Right now. Don't you just love locking yourself into editing decisions on the first day of filming? Anyway, the biggest problem was that between the fingers there were weak spots because the flow of the latex seemed to just be thin there. My solution was to slowly rotate the hand so that it dries evenly. Now, I don't know that I have a motor slow enough to rotate a hand like a rotisserie, but I do have a LEGO Mindstorm NXT robot. I can't believe I'm taking this thing apart after over 10 years assembled in this configuration. This was a robot my friend and I built in middle school to absolutely smoke the competition in basic tasks like picking up a battery, launching a ping pong ball, doing laps. But the only thing worse than disrupting a piece of my personal history is letting a piece of my personal history not get the use it deserves. So let's take it apart and print up a hand compatible with LEGO Technic, which makes this unofficially a LEGO piece. I followed the same dipping procedure as before, letting it rotate while drying to evenly distribute the latex on the hand. But what ended up happening was some weird bulbous tips on the end of the fingers. When I degloved them, and I'm sorry there isn't a better word for that, sitting it next to a glove I made the normal way, it was clear that rotating it didn't do much to improve things, and I still actually had some weak spots between the fingers. But where we're going, we won't have fingers. It's finally small-scale mitten time. I printed out the form and, you get the idea by now. Dip, dry, but the mitten took like 5 dips to get looking reasonable. Not sure why that is, but I cornstarched it and pulled it off, and it looked really good. So I think we have proof of concept here for both of these guys, which is really, really exciting. I mean, come on. That looks pretty good, no? It looked so good, in fact, that I skipped the medium scale test I was originally planning on doing and just jumped to making the real thing. First, I had to scale up the models to roughly the size of my hand. Oh no, they're so big. Oh. To this point, this was the biggest thing I've printed, so seeing the hands completed was a bit ridiculous. Then came the dipping. It didn't occur to me then that these molds had different volumes, so the latex would come up to different levels on them. I tried to do the best I could with that, but I knew I'd end up with some short gloves and mittens. I did 5 layers of latex on these as well, after which I degloved and demittened them with copious amounts of cornstarch, and then, well, I did it again. And I gotta say, I was really happy with the result. But of course, what's the point of making science mittens if you're not gonna do science with them? And now that we've made these abominations to science, I think we gotta test them with a little science. We're just gonna do a little bit of a kid's experiment here to kind of test the dexterity of these items. I'm going to be extracting DNA from strawberries. And we're just gonna get the control test out of the way real quick with regular old, bought them from Walgreens nitrile gloves. So step 1, we're just gonna get 120 mils of water into here. And then we gotta smash 2 berries. We need 1 teaspoon of salt. And then we need 10 milliliters of dish soap. I'm using a syringe to sort of test the dexterity. Pour this in. Mix this around. This is gonna break down the cell walls and all the stuff holding the DNA in. I'm going to take a coffee filter from the stack. Another challenge of dexterity, I suppose, because I can't even do this in gloves. And we're gonna pour this all ice cold isopropyl. And then once I pour this in, it should all crash out of solution. Look at that. That is strawberry DNA. Things that I can foresee going wrong with just my gloves is that they're gonna be tighter. They're much smaller in comparison, as you could see in the before shot. I think working with the syringe is gonna be hard in both them and the mittens. And the mittens are certainly gonna be hard to work with just in general. So let's reset and try it again. Rinsing DNA down the drain, no subtext there. Now my gloves are really tight to the point where it's hard to get my fingers into the fingers. It traps air in here. Also, the coverage isn't great. It didn't go as far down as the gloves did, but I think we'll just deal with it. I think we'll just live with it here. Time to go through the process again. Okay, already I'm facing a problem. I can't open this. There we go. Excuse me, I need your DNA. My dexterity has definitely decreased, and I think that's just because these are thicker than the nitrile gloves by a lot. And but I can still like manipulate things. Also, these tips, these gloves just don't fit well. A little heavy on the salt, but that's okay. Oop, well, I don't know if that was the gloves or me, but squirt that in. Everything seems harder in these, I think because they're tight. Oh, that's interesting. I tried to run across it, but because my cornstarch, it's sticking and like dragging. The holes in the gloves aren't getting worse. Well, that one is definitely getting worse, but like you need your thumbs, man. I don't know what to tell you. All right, now we grab a coffee filter. Again, not so bad dexterity-wise. I don't know how to help the coffee filter stay in place. Oh no. Oh, that just bust big time. This is actually kind of hard in these gloves because I can't feel anything through them. Okay, I don't know how I'm going to take this glove off in one piece. Oh boy. So definitely mistakes made here. Oh, geez. I feel like it's just getting worse. Oh, this glove, my second attempt, ran much better, even though the holes in between the fingers did keep getting worse. So, oh, so you've got to wonder, as I am now, are the mittens going to fare any better? So that's how these fared. Not well. So we're gonna put these over here, and then we're gonna move on to the mittens. And we're gonna put the long one on righty here, just because it feels right. I'm right-handed. I don't know how to explain it, but simultaneously these feel better and worse than the gloves. They're certainly looser, but they are disproportionately looser. But they feel a lot more. They will feel a lot freeing. I'm finding reasons to love these. Just because look at them. That wasn't bad at all. I can't pick these up. There we go. Okay, once you kind of get the hang of the lobster claws, it's not horrible. This feels weird because I have like no finger control at all. Like my dexterity is totally fine. I'm doing it. Now we need to pull off a coffee filter. Now we have to pull off a coffee filter. This was a little harder. I was eventually able to peel it off like a page. Okay, here's a problem. I can't pick this up. If I'm intelligent about this, which, you know, we'll see. Hey, all right. Ugh, okay. That wasn't bad either. I really thought this was gonna be like awful. I didn't realize how little I use most of my fingers. All right, let me close this. Just out of curiosity, can I open the flip lid? Yes. Okay. I was kind of going into this thinking like, oh, the mittens are gonna suck. They're gonna cause a problem. I can't. Oop, well, they're slippery. Ugh, they're really slippery. These held up beautifully. There is nary a split or, I mean, there's several defects, I guess, but nothing's that. My hands feel dry, and look at how easy they come off. Immaculate. Amazing. Science mittens. I was really expecting this to go a whole lot worse. I was expecting this to be challenging with the mittens. I was not expecting my gloves to suck as bad as they did. And let's think about the safety practicality of this for a second. There's less surface area here for you to spill and get hurt on. Your fingers are protected. All you need is the little lobster claw that this affords you. Will this take off in the science industry? No. No. No, of course not. But I don't think there's much else to take away from it other than it worked. I'm shocked that it worked, but I guess I didn't really consider how few things you need all of your fingers for. That was really shocking. You sometimes just need your lobster claw, and this allows you to do a lobster claw perfectly fine. I'm shocked at how bad my gloves were. They were really tight. They were very, very brittle. And I think it just goes to show you that where safety is involved, you should not be making your own rubber things. That should go without saying.